Welcome to the Conscious Living Podcast, conversations to educate, empower, and enlighten our world. An uplifting and inspiring series of conversations and talks with your host, Jackie Woodside. We are educating minds, empowering lives, and enlightening souls to create a world where love prevails. In this engaging podcast, we deliver exciting, positive, transformative talks and teachings designed to elevate your life. Now, let's join our host, Jackie Woodside, for this week's session.
Hi there, Jackie Woodside here, the founder and the host of the Conscious Living Podcast, where, as you know, we are here to educate, empower, and enlighten our world. Thank you so much for being my partner and colleague and ally in this process of creating a world where love prevails, creating a world where people are awakened and alive and engaged in life, rather than walking around with their head down in a phone or their head in the clouds of their worries, stresses, and upsets. That's my commitment to you, that you get more engaged in the absolute power, magic, and mystery that your life is. Today, I'm so excited to bring to the Conscious Living stage a young entrepreneur, beautiful musician, and amazingly bright light, Sammi Sadicario. What a beautiful last name. She's a Broadway dropout turned speaking coach for entrepreneurs who are new to the stage. After performing on over 100 stages, get that, and finishing a 2-year contract as a cruise director and singer, she decided to fulfill something that was more nourishing to her soul, engaging in personal development, somatic psychology, and world-class coaching practices. Sammi, there's so much to that story right there. The Broadway dropout turned coach, turned public speaking expert. So tell us a little bit more about your path. Welcome to the Conscious Living Podcast.
Oh, thank you, Jackie. It's been such a joy to get to know you over the past half hour and now finally press record.
No, that was fun.
There's so many parts to the story, right? I spent the first 26 years of my life completely dedicated to the theater. Day in, day out. That's where I was. I didn't play any sports. I tried, but I would keep coming back to theater. Everything I did, I just wasn't competitive enough for anything. I wanted to cheerlead everybody. That's just always who I was. To tell the story, I was 3 years old at a Barney concert, and I walked up to somebody and said, "Hi, my name is Sammi. Will you be my friend?" Next person. "Hi, my name is Sammi. Will you be my friend?" Next person. "Hi, my name is Sammi. Will you be my friend?" And so I just always wanted to connect with people. And I still do that. My boyfriend tells the story. "Hi, my name is Baby. Will you be my friend?" "Hi, my name is Baby. Will you be my friend?" He loves that story because it's still true. It's how we met. I walked up and said, "Hi, I'm Sammi." And so I spent the first majority of my life in the theater, but I was in tremendous pain. I was in tremendous pain in my mind. I was in tremendous pain in my body and in my soul. And that's because I was being inauthentic and I was put in a box and I had to follow the rules and do things the way that the industry wanted me to. And I never felt fulfilled. And I had tremendous stage fright all the time.
Oh, wow.
It was less, let me reframe that. It was less fright. It was more that I was like, gosh, I want to be in front of people, but this is not what I want to be doing in front of people.
Okay.
So when I had to play other characters, the pressure was on to be someone I wasn't.
Wow.
And so now I love being in front of people and being myself. And that's my gift. My gift is to deeply channel my own inner truth. And that is wisdom for other people. When I take up space, it is wisdom for other people. And so I'm working on coming back to taking up space.
I don't know what you mean by that. Taking up space is your wisdom for other people. I don't know exactly what you mean by that.
Does it resonate to say feeling safe to be seen?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so often I've told myself the story that if I'm a star, then other people can't be. So, or I intimidate people when I'm in the spotlight, which has been true in the past because I grew up in a very competitive field. And so now that I'm really finding who I am as a wisdom giver, if you will, or as a spiritual seeker, or as a coach, as a channel, to use that language, because when I sing and when it comes from that place, it's what I'm doing, and it's what other people also affirm that I'm doing, which feels good when other people affirm that. I have a teacher right now. So this is what the story happening in my head, right? The visuals that I have in my head as I'm speaking this. I have a teacher right now. I'm in a music producing course. It's a very deeply spiritual music producing course. It's called Soul Sound Academy.
Oh,
And it's
wow.
a 10-month program about how to channel a song a week, how to write a song and then put it out into the world in a week. 8 weeks minimum. Like it takes you from start to finish. And the whole first month, and we're only a month in, is about moving deep into the root and pulling the song up from the root, where for me, it often comes from above and then out. And yesterday, my teacher, when I'm done talking, when I'm like, okay, I've taken too much time. I've taken too much time to talk about me. I should finish now. She paused me and was like, you're going to take more time. It's safe for you to take up attention.
Wow.
And so that was really powerful for me because she's allowing me to believe in my true power in a way that I need, and that everyone else on that call affirmed that they needed. They all affirmed that when I show my humanity, people see me as this bold, confident, courageous woman. And I'm totally that. I'm very brave. I hug my inner child all the time. And I'm like, you're so brave. Oh my gosh. You do scary things all the time. What the heck? Oh my gosh, you're so brave. I'm so proud of her. I've been very proud of her lately. I have a picture of little me on the wall. And at the same time, I'm very human.
Mm.
And so showing people my genuine authenticity, my struggles is so important because I don't have anything figured out. There's nothing and I feel the pressure often to have things figured out. And I'm like, okay, ooh, let's use the voice. Let's do what I know how to do, which is clear the channel and let go of needing to have anything figured out. Go quiet and allow myself to feel the voice rather than hear the voice.
What does that mean, to feel the voice rather than hear the voice?
How often do we hear what we're saying, but we're not feeling what we're actually saying?
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing my language back to being practical, because sometimes I go to this advanced state that's not, that people are like, I like it, but I don't really know what you're saying.
Right. Right. I want to make it resonate for people so they can have that experience as well.
Exactly. So I'll put it this way. How often do people write down their thoughts and then read them out loud?
Mm. Yeah. Rare to never, I would guess.
Mm-hmm. Often we're in a talk therapy phase of society, which is like talk, 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 and not integrate. And that's great. Get it out. Absolutely. And how do we integrate it is really put together the vibrations of the words and the feelings in our body, the vibration of our voice in our body. Our voice is this invisible thing, but it is matter. It is sound matter. It is sound waves. It is a physical object. And when used correctly, can heal or hurt.
Say more.
Sound.
That's fascinating.
So sound therapy. So these vibrations, we know that certain vibrations can heal certain ailments in our cells, in our cells are the smallest version of that, in our bones, in our organs, in our thoughts. And what people forget is that we have our own sound. We each have our own sound that I believe has been stripped from us with marketing and social media and all the things, and no more singing. We don't sing as a society anymore. If you're part of a community that sings, it's beautiful, but that's no longer a standard. We used to, I believe that one of the ways to heal generational trauma is to sing together.
Mm. Wow. You do see that in a lot of indigenous communities.
Exactly. Why? Stimulates the vagus nerve, which is our fight or flight mechanism. So we're toning the parts of our body that release the trauma. We're also harmonizing together a shared grief, and we're releasing the grief. We're releasing the pains in our body. And we don't do that in our society. Not anymore, unless you're part of a church or you're part of something. And then also, what are the words? So the next part of it, and I've been studying this for a long time, is it's beautiful to also sing together and release together and feel together and heal together. But are we releasing, or are we being put in a trance? Both. So what are we in training ourselves with? So what words are being used from our music? In college, I have a minor in religious studies. And in college, I wrote a one-woman show where I was just questioning all these different religions that all have a script, a director, a choreographer or choreography, and music. And then in Judaism, we also have a music director. And I was like, why are we putting on who's the show for? Is it for God? Is it for ourselves? Who's the show for? Do I exist if there's no audience? Does the actor exist if there's no audience? Does the human exist if there's no God? What is this connection? And so that was those are the questions I was asking then. And the questions I'm asking now is, how can we learn from all of the ways that we've healed trauma in the past to bring it back into our current predicament? Whether that's putting better music out there, whether that's hosting more local community song circles, or teaching people to sing again, or how to use their voice to make a difference, how to use our voice to heal, how to use our voice to come to the places that hurt. I often teach people when they're about to go speak somewhere, like get on a podcast like this, breathe, hum, and then speak. Humming. The humming calms the nervous system. It also clears out what's not ours.
Yeah. Wow. Really, really powerful. So you talk about that we each have a sound, and you're talking about using sound as healing. Can you say more about either of those concepts? I'd love to hear more about it.
Just as you said that, I thought silence is healing too. I could learn more about the science. And what comes to mind is singing to a crying baby, or somebody who's having a nervous breakdown who starts singing to themselves and rocking. Being able to heal ourselves and bring ourselves back to center through the vibrations of our voice. This does, as I said, multiple things. One, tones the vagus nerve. And if you haven't heard of polyvagal theory, listeners, I highly recommend checking it out. It's life-changing. And that's more than just talking. It's actually pausing, slowing down, and noticing, where does my voice vibrate in my body? Does it vibrate in my chest? Or do I have a lighter voice that vibrates more in my head?
Interesting.
Does it happen up here? Do I speak more towards the front of my face? Most people don't know that speaking is a behavior.
Speaking is a behavior.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm noticing I'm self-conscious about my voice.
I like your voice, actually.
I'm told that a lot, actually. I've had people tell me, I could listen to you all day. I think it was 30 years as a psychotherapist.
That will do it. And I imagine that's part of what made you a strong psychotherapist.
I do have a very soothing voice. Most people tell me. My son doesn't tell me that. Most people tell me that.
That's okay. I am curious. So one of the ways that I talk about the voice, the thing about the voice is very few people pay attention to it in the way that I'm paying attention to it, right? And so meeting people where they're at, the first step is just self-discovery, self-awareness. Where are you feeling the vibrations of your voice in your body? And one way to do that, I like to teach it, is with the elements. So we have the earth sound. The earth is very grounding.
Mhm.
Then we have the air sound. The air is going to put us in a visualization state. You have more of water. Water is going to be more for therapists or meditation teachers. I use this when I'm creating a calming quality. And then we have fire. I'm not going to be very loud right now. Usually when I demonstrate this, I get pretty loud because I have a lot of fire in my voice.
Yeah.
And finally, we have metal. And metal serves a purpose. Metal serves the purpose of cutting through noise. So if I were in a loud restaurant, I would use metal rather than screaming. If I were to lose my, um, if I were to lose my voice, I would give more metal in my sound.
Oh, so you consciously choose which type of voice you're going to speak from?
Yes, yes, and when I'm being conscious of it, yes, I have more practice in being conscious of it,
Yeah.
especially when I'm on stage or in a podcast or
Yeah.
in certain situations. Um, but I have so much practice. I have over 10,000 hours of voice lessons.
Wow.
So learning how
Oh,
to see something on a page of what does the writer want? And then how do I make the sounds that match that word?
right.
So
Right.
then
'Cause it's
now
not
I've,
about the words, it's about how you deliver the words.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so now I've matched that to psychology, and I can typically hear somebody's story in their voice or what they haven't integrated in their voice. Um, and that's part of what makes me really strong coach is as I'm working, helping them work through their stories, I can hear if their voice goes up, they're not usually sure about something.
Oh, interesting.
Or if their voice cracks a little bit, I'll be like, hey, can we explore that part? What happened? When did someone tell you your voice didn't matter? It's
Mm.
usually what that comes to. And using Louise Hay's work as well. Um, and then there's so many layers. There's so many layers to go down with it. And then adding in the resonance that comes when you're deeply connected to your truth and to source. There's a I sat in a room this weekend with a group of very powerful people. Not like powerful in the world. I mean like very centered in themselves and humble and kind, and we all run on a similar frequency. And three of us all function in a similar way of our intuition of being we use human design, so called the sounding board intuition, meaning we need to talk it out. And then my human design shows that I do have a direct channel from my crown to my identity center and out of my voice, which I haven't seen before. And we all have these deeply resonant voices. It was very cool to witness. Somebody else observed it. They said, and all of you have really vibrant voices. And I was like, oh, we do. It's almost like there's an echo, like
Wow.
there's like a second voice there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that sounds just amazing. So you work with people on stages, public speakers, and yet a lot of what you're talking about is kind of spiritual, esoteric. So how do you blend those two of the conscious piece, helping people be more conscious, present, aware, and also connect with their audience, whether it's an audience of one or an audience of many?
Hmm. Beautiful question. The voice is the gateway drug. The voice is the gateway. My core offer is absolutely for people who are speaking more and want to deliver a strong message for impact and purpose. I love speaking about spirit and about conscious living, um, and I find that people just know that about me without me needing to tell them,
Nice.
you know? So when I'm working with someone and guiding them home to their voice, we do a lot of visualizations around what the audience needs to hear. We do a lot of humming, which is something they've often never done before,
Mm.
to find clarity in themselves before speaking. And so that is a spiritual practice.
Mm.
To me, somatics, that's the way to spirit, getting into the body, out of the mind and into the body. I heard that from a healer once, and it fully resonated with me. And the more I'm in my body, the more connected I am to spirit, and the more I am able to receive the aligned messages rather than just what I think I need to say.
Mm.
And so I love the work I do with people who want to have a strong impact. And also people do find me looking for spiritual guidance.
Nice. Nice.
People do find me and say, I want to find my voice in this way. I would really like to work in this way. And I love working with those people. I don't advertise it. It's more that those people just come to me.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't talk about this preparing for the show, so I don't know if you're okay with it or not. We'll take a leap of faith here. But I'm wondering if there are any of your voice practices that you could demonstrate for us rather than us talking about it, to actually give us an experience of it.
There's the part where I coach other people
Mhm.
and I allow myself to disconnect from the channel in order, not disconnect, just it's a different thing. The place that I go when I'm doing that is one aspect, and often that's more of the sound healing version of what I'm stepping into with my voice and singing.
Mhm.
And then the other part is, let's say somebody comes to me and they're like, oh, my noise, this is what my voice is like, and I'm told I'm annoying and I want to change it. How do I change it? What do I do? How can I change how I sound? And so right now they have a blocked nasal, meaning there's no air coming out of their nose, and their larynx, their Adam's apple, is lifted. So what do? We practice bringing the chin down, which automatically brings air out of the nose. I didn't
Oh,
change anything. I literally, all I did was bring my chin down. You could see that it still sounds a little bit nasal, but it's a lot better. So that's one aspect.
mhm.
And the first step is teaching people how to start feeling what their voice sounds like in their mouth. So that's that. Let's say somebody mumbles a lot, they're kind of here right now, and like they're just used to this because Americans are really lazy. What I would do is guide them to raise their soft palate, which is the back of their mouth, and we would do some some singing exercises. That's really important, guiding people to their head voice, that air quality voice after they're speaking all day. Because when we're speaking all day in one place, um, our it's like we're overusing that muscle, and it needs to also be worked in a different place. So we work that muscle, and it doesn't need to sound good. It's just about
Yeah.
supporting the muscle. But if somebody's gargling down here, I would take a pen with them. And this is what I've been talking about a lot, just because Alex Hormozy was talking this weekend, and I really want to coach that man's voice. And I very much want to be his voice coach. So if
What
you know
is
Alex
it about,
Hormozy,
I do, yeah. What is it about his voice that you want to be his voice coach?
can you understand everything he's saying?
I don't know that I listen that closely. I mean, I know who he is, and I know he had a big event this weekend. Yeah.
Part of my problem is I don't listen to him. I don't listen to his stuff because I can't understand him.
So he kind of has that mumbly quality.
He mumbles and he talks really quickly, which has worked for him. And some people are like, it's working. Why change it? And I'm like, okay, well, like if being on what, then why develop anything? Why get better at anything in life?
Right.
You
Right.
know, why get better so that people can understand you and you could be heard by more people and you have a better following and also just happiness, self-improvement.
Yeah.
There's a joy to learning how a behavior has impacted every part of our life
Yeah.
and knowing, oh my gosh, I have the power to shift this behavior. It's actually not that hard. Well,
What would you do with him, with Alex Hormonzi or Tony Robbins? Maybe somebody who's a little bit more well-known.
Tony Robbins has seen every voice coach in the industry. He has gone to a lot of voice coaches. He has vocal damage. At this point in time, Tony Robbins has created vocal damage. And so he does practice this. Ga 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 ga. He does this. How do I know that? Because I've been to all of the websites of all of the voice teachers, and all of them say that they've worked with Tony Robbins.
That's funny.
And so I'm like, oh, okay. So he actually, what's funny is the one who calls him Anthony Robbins. And I'm like, okay. Just very prestigious voice coaches. So I mean, I would continue to work with him on I'm curious who told Tony his voice didn't matter. Because he's so adamant that his voice matters. And with such vocal damage, I wonder if there's a deeper level of healing still to be done there.
That's beautiful.
So I'm curious. Now, once you said it, I kind of just tapped into his mission and everything he does. And I'm like, actually. But I would also tell him to take a week of silence.
Yeah.
I'm sure
for a week.
I'm sure he's already doing that. I'm sure he's doing all the right things, but this is how I would work with someone, right? But I would also really dive into those voice stories, because often if we're losing our voice, it's more than just the physical part. It's the being silenced part. And I was silenced over and over and over again. And I used to lose my voice all the time. Yeah. I really feel like I took 2 years off of performing, and I feel that those 2 years were really healthy for me, because I just jumped leaps in my voice when I came back to it. And part of that's your voice doesn't stop. Women's voices don't mature until we're 30. And I'm 29. So it's just maturity and integration of all the things and learning the somatic aspect. I was thinking my voice for so long, and now I'm feeling my voice. So that's a coaching part of what I do.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Want to say more about the healing or the spiritual aspect?
Yeah. Then the other part is this very subtle feeling of knowing when something's coming from me and when it's coming from a source energy. And this is a really precious gift that I'm just learning to wield. And sometimes I literally have to sing it. There's this wild moment of being in this open channel and feeling the motions and feeling the movement of the sound. And then as soon as the mind creeps in and the self-doubt creeps in, I'm off key. And it's like this tuning fork that it's so important for me to keep finding. And one of my mentors, when I told him because I used to be a copywriter, like I've done all things in entrepreneurship, right? And I told him, I was like, okay, I'm gonna teach the world about the voice. And I think I'm gonna do it through public speaking, because those are the people who are using it for impact. And I want all these people who have really big missions to know how to use their voice forever and ever. And also, while spreading the word that if we just get everyone humming and singing, I think that will solve all the problems of community and harmonization and all the things that they're trying to separate us from, make us feel like we're all different, but we're not. And my mentor said, "Oh, you're the tuning fork."
Humanity's tuning fork.
I was like, "Oh,
it's exciting.
Cool. Let me keep exploring that." And so I'm exploring that now with music and what my music sounds like.
Yeah. Sammi, I'm so excited for you. You are, I mean, I'm sure you don't feel young or old. You just feel 29, but in my world, you're really young. You have such an exciting, extraordinary career ahead of you. You have such depth of wisdom and breadth of knowledge that I very much see you as being the tuning fork for humanity's soul, bringing us aligned back together as one. voice coach to the stars and those who have bigger platforms to bring this elevation of consciousness and oneness to our world. So thank you so much for sharing your grace and your wisdom and your beautiful voice with us here today on the Conscious Living Podcast. If people want to reach out to you, Sammi, what's the best way for people to speak with you?
First of all, that was so beautiful. Thank you. I received that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several ways that you can keep up with me. One, you can contact me through one of my websites, Sammi Siren Music, SAMMI. My coaching website is still in order right now. So Sammi Siren Music will always be there. That's where I'll share lots of things. The other is through LinkedIn, Sammi Sadicario, or on Instagram, Sammi the Story Siren.
Nice. I am so looking forward to following your career, and I just really appreciate you being here and sharing your grace with us on the Conscious Living Podcast. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jackie.